I read the Rick Rubin book as well. The art, the creative, the way of living.
Did you download it?
Yeah, on my Kindle.
Okay.
Love my Kindle. The Kindle is probably the best invention. I know I'm late to the game, super late to the game, terribly late to the game, but Kindle is probably the best invention ever. I'm burning through books.
No. Peanut butter and chocolate
All right.
is the best invention ever.
1 and 2.
Sorry.
1 and 2.
Whoever thought of that, whoever had that, whenever that had to be an accident.
Anyway, back to my book. He has a very interesting theory in that book that ideas, creative ideas, are always floating around in like wherever ideas float around. It was actually funny because we watched the Avicii documentary a while ago, and Chris Martin was in there, and he was talking about a moon full of stars, or a sky full of stars, the song he wrote, and he said like, I got this song from wherever the songs come from. And I had that in mind when I read the book. And Rick Rubin is talking about ideas floating around everywhere, and artists
in
are
the ether.
Yeah, artists are very sensitive people. So when they're allowing themselves to open their mind, ideas come to them. Because we always heard about artists. I remember watching the Bob Dylan documentary. He was like, it wasn't like I wrote it even. It was just coming through me. It wasn't me doing it, but it was me doing it.
Well, I'll flip you out, and everyone knows this if they're rock fans. You know, Jimmy Page. He said he saw the lyrics for Stairway to Heaven in a fireplace. The lyrics were...
Whoa.
He said he was sitting there, and the lyrics just started forming in the fireplace, and he was writing it down.
But that's what I'm saying.
They were staying in some, like, 18th century cottage or something in the UK. It was like some kind of castle-y kind of a thing. Supposedly, don't quote me on that, but it was some kind of old house they wanted to record in. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's coming from somewhere. And if you open your mind, and he talks a lot about meditation and like close out your mind and be focused on the creativity.
The creatine?
Creatine. Be focused on the creatine and you will make gains. No, be focused on the creativity, and the creativity will come to you. Because Bob Dylan is not the first one I hear say that.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Where do you think it's coming from? The creativity. Do you think it's something you create, or is it something you receive?
I think it's something you create.
Interesting.
Because have you ever heard a song before, and in your mind, like, there'll be times I'll hear songs that can even be a banger, but somewhere along the line, I'm not a musician. I love music, but sometimes I hear a song, but then I hear it a bit differently, and I'm like, it should have played that way.
Okay.
Like sometimes I'll hear a note in a song or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to go another way, and it almost sounds off to me. And I'm not a very creative, artistic person in the music sense, I think. But could you imagine if someone's actually a full-blown musician, what they hear? That doesn't sound right to me. Someone that's dialed in, that does that, like that's their love, that's their passion. So for regular Joe like me, sometimes is like, I thought that was going to go different. Or you look at art and you're like, I get it, but there's something off. Maybe if I created it, it would have looked the same. Maybe there would have been a little bit of a difference there, right? So I think it's personally. I think certain things people do to open up their mind, whether that's alcohol, drinking, spiritual meditation, working out. I think when you have that clear mind, you're just more receptive for your ideas, right? Because think about it. I mean, we can even put it on a more basic level. Like how many times I know that I've been trying to figure something out, and then I'll have like an intense workout, and I'm thinking while I'm in my workout, and I'm kind of clearing myself, and then all these ideas just start flowing in, and you're almost not looking for them, but you're kind of clearing everything out for it to. I think if you're being more receptive, what's in you becomes in your face, because there's a lot of stuff you shovel through, right?
He
in your
talks about
brain.
workouts as well, like an intense workout.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
He talks
funny.
about that in there.
He does.
A walk in nature, an intense workout.
Really?
Like different stuff
So
work
there
for
you
different
go.
people.
So that's what I'm trying to say, right? It probably different things trigger different.
But do you still
things in people.
think that creativity comes from the outside if you're receptive to it, or do you think you create it from the inside?
I think you may
Do you
see.
think they're all out there?
No,
like
I
they
think-
can come to me, but I'm not open to the creativity.
well, let's look at that question you just said, right? I think maybe you see something on the outside that triggers you on the inside, and then it just starts flowing. Maybe there's that match, right? But I don't think you pull the whole idea. I think you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Or like when you hear people say, oh, well, I heard so-and-so say this, and then the song just kind of came from that as a term or a word
Yep.
or, you know. So I think you get stimulated. You get inspired by certain things, but I think it comes from inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
And
think it's a channel. I think it's a channel you need to tap into, and you need to be
yeah,
sensitive
maybe you're
to.
tapping into yourself, though.
I think it's from the outside. I think it's available for everyone, but only the ones that done the work and are sensitive to the creativity ideas can fetch them. It's almost like I always thought about that when you always hear about artists writing a song during one night. I think Redemption song with Bob
Yeah,
Marley
but okay.
is one
So
of those cases.
let me be devil's advocate.
All right.
I don't know if I can say that in church, but so let's just say that everybody got the same thought, but let's say 5 artists got the same thought, but none of them knew that the other one did, and they went into their respected corners. They're all going to come back with completely different ideas of what that song's going to sound like or that art's going to look like, but they had the exact same inspiration. So that means it comes from the inside.
I think it's created in the inside. I think the ideas come from the outside. I don't think it doesn't come like a full version. I think like you said, you tapped at this a bunch of time when what you were talking about. I think the idea comes from the outside, but you need to build from that idea.
Yeah, you get the spark. And I think, yeah.
Because I always thought about that, like I said, I think Bob Marley wrote the Redemption song because they needed one more song for the album. And he went home and wrote it that night.
Yeah, but Bob Marley, he wasn't a singer. He was a preacher. I literally said this to you recently.
True.
I don't think he was a lyrical guy.
No,
he was a
but-
lyrical guy, but I think he was a preacher, man.
But I don't think that would have happened if he hadn't done his 10,000 hours and was open to the creativity. He wouldn't have written a song in one night if he wasn't at that level, because he wrote a whole album.
So he wrote
So
it
he
just
was
to
in
he
the
wrote that
creative.
just to fill a space?
I think that's the story. I think
I thought that I don't know. I thought he went through some stuff and he was like, you know what, and it just came out.
yeah, but it was.
I don't think he was desperate for a song.
They made the album in England, I think. They had the album done, and it's like, we need one more song. And he went home that night and wrote that song. But it was from all the shit all the stuff he's been pulling from. It was from all the stuff he's been pulling from. But it came out like Redemption song.
Yeah.
And he wrote that in one night.
But you do have generally talented people, right? And I think it just flows from. I think, yeah, it comes from the inside because we're all so different.
I also think you have to be a bit sensitive to be an artist. Sensitive to if you're in nature, you see nature for maybe not, maybe just the best of them. I think they take in more. Like we can look at the tree and
Yeah, but how many times like bands are killing it and they're high on drugs for 3 albums and they decide to clean up and you're just like, oh, this album is crap. Get back on the lithium or whatever you were taking.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about that, right?
Wasn't that what happened in like the 70s? Everyone took drugs. Then the 80s came and no one took drugs.
80s, what are you talking about? 80s was probably cocaine. And
Yeah, exactly. That ruins music. Cocaine is not good for music.
I don't
Cocaine is
think-
not good.
The 80s got some bangers, bro. I don't know.
We will listen to
think
the
about
80s
that,
today.
though. But think about that, right? That's probably one of the reasons. It's like you're opening channels inside because and when the people clean up and they're like, oh, we're going to go clean now, their albums usually are crap.
Yeah,
Like complete crap.
that happens all the time.
Yeah, it's like, dude, can you please be on Def's bed so we could get some good tunes?
Do the drugs for the people. We need the drugs for the
For
people.
the art.
Yeah,
Sacrifice for the art. But that happens all
Sacrifice
the
for the
time,
art.
right?
yeah.
So,
It's interesting though, and he in the book he goes through the whole process from when you get the seed of the idea and how you work on that idea until it's a finished product.
Yeah.
The whole book is it's so interesting because he worked with everyone. You know.
yeah,
that.
Ruben's a
Oh
boss.
yeah, he worked with everyone. Very deep guy.
He's got great little quotes, too.
Yeah, very deep guy. So I recommend that book, Really good book.
Because he goes, everything's by feel, isn't it? He just, he
Yeah.
likes it, he listens to it,
Yeah.
he just feels it out. And
He
I mean,
also
he's
said-
been around.
He also says if you get an idea, even the art must come first. He said, like, if you get an idea at 9 at night and that idea start popping, you need to stay with that idea. Even though if you have to stay up all through the night,
Right.
that idea might be gone tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You need to feed that. Sacrifice your body, sacrifice everything. The art comes first.
Well, how about when
interesting.
you always hear someone say, I wrote the song in 5 minutes and it was like their biggest hit? Like that's something to be said about that, right?
Yeah, but that's what I said with the Bob Marley stuff. I think that would not have happened if they hadn't been doing it for 10,000 hours. They were given a gift. They were given like the muse or whatever was given them.
Right.
Here you go.
Right.
You've been putting in time now.
Right.
Here you go.
Right.
You get this. I think Bob Dylan wrote a bunch of songs in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but he also supposedly sold his soul.
Yeah.
Let's not get into that in the church. Okay.
Bob Dylan is not welcome here in church.
No.
He sold his soul
Yeah.
to you know who, Voldemort.
Voldemort. Heading to Mount Doom.